Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Chairman. Again, we have talked about our budget several times in the past 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and tonight we make our formal presentation and at the end ask it to be approved. And so the superintendent's budget then becomes the actual school board budget. If you'll turn, I'm not going to go over every page like I did the last time, but you will turn to page 10, I believe it is, page 4, excuse me. We have a lot of evidence of us moving forward. We have almost 6% of our third graders that have our reading level or above. We have 91% of our students that graduated last year. Our dropout rate was 5.42%. 93% of our career students passed the career technical credentialing exams. And remember that by the time they're seniors, 100% has to pass that to graduate. 88% of our students received one referral less. 77% of our students received no disciplinary referrals. The Chromebook initiative was successfully implemented at CMS in the 5th grade in the elementary schools. The initial stages of the project-based learning program at AHS to the new Tech Network program has already commenced. We have introduced research-based Tier 2 and 3 reading interventions as an opportunity, as a strategy to work on our reading with our students. We brought in TTAC from the universities to work with our math instruction at the high school and also with our reading program as well. You know, we had a unique experience last year with Mr. Hagee's 11th grade class, who actually literally published a book that was incredible. Our TEACH program that Mrs. Brown conducts was recognized by the VDOE Spotlight and the VSBA Showcase for Innovation. We also, our one-to-one initiative, Chromebook initiative, was recognized by VSBA as well. So we have a lot of positive momentum moving forward. The challenge for us this year as we developed the budget was that the new biennium, there was a 2-year biennium. We had 2 years we had to look at the biennium. In the middle of that review of the budget, we knew that our composite index was going to change significantly. And so everything that we put in the budget this year, we also had to look next year because we knew if it was in the operating budget this year, we'd have to carry it for next year. And so that was forefront in our budget deliberations. We also know at this point that the General Assembly has not adopted a budget and has not been signed by the governor. So our budget is based on the governor's version of the budget. We also know that probably sometime after April 11th, when the General Assembly convenes again, if they've solved the budget dilemmas that they're facing currently, that we will probably have to re-meet to go back over some additions and changes based on what the House and Senate and the conference committee and what the governor comes up with. With that being said, if you'll turn to page 10 of the document, you will see that what we are looking at is the governor's budget of about $14.6 million that we are expecting in revenue at this time, state revenue, thank you, from the state based on the governor's anticipated budget. The next preceding pages, 11, 12, 13, and 14 discusses exactly where that revenue is coming from, what categories, and we've walked you through that before. We'd certainly be happy to answer any questions regarding the state revenue. And again, what we're talking about, once we do all the money, the walkthrough, what we're actually talking about, once we take out the pass-through, is approximately $14.7 billion from the governor's budget at this time in our state revenue. If you'll take a look at anticipated federal revenues on page 16, what we are looking at from our federal government once we take the pass-throughs out is about $1.35 million for federal revenue for our FY 2019 from our federal revenues. That's slightly less, about $100,000 less than last year, which is due to the loss of almost 4/5 of our forest funding from the federal government, which we are still working with our federal representatives to see if we can get that lost revenue back. If you take a look on page 17, we are asking our Board of Supervisors to provide us level funding, which is the same amount that they provided last year. which is, if you can see on there, the Alleghany County local effort of $9.3 million approximately. So if you take a look on page 18, 18 takes the state, federal, and local funding minus the pass-throughs and our revenue, and we are approximately asking for, our budget would be $25.9 million for the FY 2019 fiscal year.
The appropriate amount would be
The appropriate amount, sorry, would be $26.9 million, and of course minus the pass-throughs that go to different organizations. Page 19 is the additional new expenditures that we have worked with, which includes a one-step salary increase this year and then one-step salary increase again next year for staff. Now, I want to say something at this point about our salary. There's a lot of discussion on what brings people, what keeps people. But at some point, we have to look at our salaries for our staff, and we've got to give it a full examination. If we want our schools to continue to grow and get better, we need to have great staff in those positions. And I know it's going to be an effort on the locality, but we also got to look to see what we can do. And so as we seek into this end of this fiscal year into the next, when we hit the fall, we need to work with our representatives to ask the state to come up with their fair share. Today, I asked Mr. Rice to go through an analogy of if somebody made something 10 years ago, okay, what would they have made today, and what kind of increase did they see in their paycheck? In 10 years, okay, they have seen approximately, and this is looking at the teaching level, about $250 a year, okay, which is about maybe 1%, no, 0.7%. That's not good enough for our staff. And we need to come back and figure out what we can do better for our staff over the next year. And you haven't heard me say that since I've been here. But after analyzing that today, I think that's a critical thing that we've got to talk to our staff. And we're going to have to reach out to the community to get the community's support for this. If you take a look on page 21, it's a financial summary. After we add our additional expenses in there. If you look at page 22, you can see these are expenditure reductions. Once we do our expenditure reductions, we have now a balanced budget. And Mr. Rice and I would be happy to entertain any questions you might have about the budget.
Board members, any questions about the budget?
The additional school resource officers,
Yes.
where is that?
Okay, right now, good question. We met last week and we discussed the cost of it. We're going to share that Thursday when we have our meeting. That money will be part of the presentation when we make the joint meeting. That's a separate funding. It does not come from us at this time.
Okay.
But that's something that I think the Board of Superintendent want to discuss with us.
Okay.
We're talking costs of salary for 3 additional benefits for 3 staff members, for 3 more school resource officers, plus a certain amount of funding for supplies, vehicle, gear, weapons, things like that. So, but Sheriff Hall, myself, Mr. Rice, Mr. Lanford, and Ms. Adcock all met last week to discuss the costs. So yes, we plan on moving forward. And again, for safety reason, I've been down last week and I was at different schools. We had different road deputies and jail officials, jail deputies in the buildings helping us. So, all right, good question.
Mr. Kotulka, I have a question on page 22.
Yes, ma'am.
Eliminate funding for a part-time school psychologist. I know we've talked about this before, but how is that going to impact mental health counseling in our schools?
That's Jim Rhodes.
Yeah.
It's been,
Okay.
some years we've used it, some years we've not, with our current psychologist on staff and her ability to keep up with her caseload. And that was an opportunity to reduce that funding.
And generally, we use that, Dr. Heath, for
assessments, for
Yeah, we
psychological
usually have to use
assessments.
assessments. I don't think he has ever gotten involved with case management of the
No.
student, right?
No.
So it comes with the assessments for special decisions.
So how many school psychologists will we have?
We have one.
Okay.
Full-time.
Full-time.
Right, yeah. All right,
That's what I need. Thank you.
other questions?
I had a question concerning on page 9, cap funding for dual enrollment early college, turn all of the JRBS and JRTC.
Yes, sir.
How does that jive with our comprehensive plan? When I go back and look at our comprehensive plan, we took and just passed this in December, and we're calling for a 5% increase in enrollments to those programs. And we just passed that in December at your recommendation. And now we're asking to cap that funding. So how are we going to increase enrollment in those programs when we're capping funding for those?
When that was set up, we had boys' home students attending our school. That has changed since then, so obviously we will go back. That's one of the changes we'll need to make in the comprehensive plan for ongoing years.
But you knew about there was talk about the boys' home way before December.
Certainly, there's been talk for about a year and a half about it, but we did not know that they were going to move forward until about a month ago. That had been open. I think that both Mr. Franson and
Mr. Wright?
Mr. Wright met with him, and so we had hopes, and still at the last meeting before they finally told us that they were going to stay. There's a chance that they would stay with us.
And in terms of, the way I look at this, it's my responsibility to make sure that we're reflecting what our community wants. And our community wants a prepared workforce. And by sitting here and capping enrollment, I just read the minutes to the JRTC meeting. One of the board members there requested that Mr. Spangler go into the schools in the guidance department and try to get more students to enroll in this. But yet we're sitting right here tonight, saying we're going to cap the funding for that. So that was just at a couple.
We're not capping the enrollment at JRTC, okay? What we said is that we would not add any additional positions over there at this time. Now, again, just like we would do every year, we evaluate every process. So if suddenly Mr. Ross comes to us and says he wants to start a new program, we would take a look and see what we can do. Same thing with JRTC. If Mr. Spangler has a new program he wants to begin, then that would be a discussion with the JRTC board. They'd have to bring it back to us and fund it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, thank you for all the effort. Board members, for all the input. Mr. Kotulka, appreciate all you've done on it. Mr. Rice, appreciate all your hard work. We try to prepare a budget. We know it's going to be tough for the next couple of years, but we're going to make it. We always have. Thank you.
Yeah.